There we go. What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome back to another episode of Overthinking Understanding Podcast. I'm your host, Victoria Moore, and we are back with another episode. I keep forgetting I recorded that intro, and then I sit up here and say it every time or get into it weird, and I'm sitting over here playing with my little mixing board. Like, just use the intro. You recorded the intro to use the intro. So use the intro. Y'all probably what didn't even know y'all was getting the episode. I told y'all it was a do year when it's kicking the episode. I'm just gonna do it. I ain't gonna be talking about new episodes. Just always think new episodes are coming. New episodes are coming. I always say like this podcasting. This podcast not really like my first job, second job, third job. It's like a hobby. I like, talking to people. Don't mean I shouldn't take it more serious. Like that's what bringing is actually a perfect segue into today's episode. And today we're gonna talk about being your best employee. Being your best employee. I done kind of hit on it before, but it's just been reoccurring. I tell you, it's been reoccurring. Everybody know, or if they don't know, or you new to my podcast, I'm a United States soldier. Been in the army for coming up 10 years. I think I'm at like 9 years, 5 months, and stuff like that. And I I be teeter tottering. I be ready to get out, and then sometimes I be ready to stay in. Like I love my job. Don't get me wrong, but I also get caught up on. I feel like it's holding me back, and well, I was finna say for those who don't know, but don't nobody know. Like I don't tell nobody when I'm leaving. But I just came back from training, and of course, like you join the army, you it's a good chance you're gonna be away from your family. Well, you're gonna be away from your family, but it's a good chance you're gonna be away from your family for an extended period of time. Training, freaking just rotations, deployments, anything. You're gonna be away from your family. And this time just felt different. And the only reason this time felt different, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, is because I have been to this place many times before, and this felt like the biggest waste of time. And it's just like that's what sucks. It's just like any other job. Like that's what sucks when your time is wasted. When your time is set up there and be wasted, you like I could have been doing something productive with my time. And then that's what got me to thinking about this episode. I actually want to do another one, but we're gonna talk about this one because we doing this one. I before we get too deep into it, I miss y'all. I'm just talking to y'all. But before we get too deep into it, I apologize for that bleed on my first episode of 2024, the Do Year. The content is still good, but the bleed, I apologize. The issue was I had a cord, like I had like 3 mics, right? And I unplugged the mic, but I didn't unplug the cord. So I chunked it up to, oh man, I should have checked it. Like sometimes I'll go through, well, not sometimes, me being a better employee for myself, I do a dry episode, just me talking into the mic, saying my limitations, my left and rights of how I can move, how much I can move. Is my mic up too loud? And but if I need to be talking like this on the mic and it's still a register clear, do I need to be up on the mic like this? Adjusting levels, like I do that. And on that particular episode, I didn't. I did not do a dry run episode. I think no, you know what? I take that a lot back. I did a dry run episode, but I kept forgetting to switch the mic over to the mic that I needed it to be on. So when I finally switched the mic over to where it needed to be, I didn't think about doing the whole little process I usually do. You see me looking down, you already know Facebook usually get the content first because I record the videos on Facebook, or while I'm recording the videos in my studio, I uploading it to Facebook simultaneously. So when I get done with it, Facebook don't get no edit. They'll eventually get the other video, but they don't get no edit or nothing. They get the raw footage of me starting from the beginning, whatever happened, me starting up or whatever. So you see me looking down, I'm just engaging both of the audience, YouTube and Facebook. And for those of y'all who just listen to me, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, wherever you get your podcast at, then it ain't really important for y'all. But yeah, so get back into it. Like I said, I apologize for that. and get back into what I was saying with this episode. So I'm aware of training, and I'm sitting there thinking like I could be doing something productive with my life. Like I think it's just to the point where I'm 28 years old. I've been doing this since I was 18. I've been doing some form of military training since I was 14 because I did ROTC, and that's what told me I was gonna come into the service. And I just feel like, not even feel, I know, I think within myself, I've been a good employee for the service, and not so good of an employee for myself. And like I say, how I got there with the training, I'm sitting there at training, and I'm like, you could be doing something productive. Like they wasting your time, taking no time away from my family, my brother, just family in general. I could be doing something productive. I could be shooting episodes. I could be working out. Just you get to thinking all this stuff, right? And then I'm sitting over here like, no, you wouldn't. Like I, you got, and sometimes you gotta be real with yourself. So I'm sitting up here like, no, you wouldn't. Like if I was at home, I'd probably be laid up. I probably would go to the gym or I'd be working. Like regardless, one thing that's done been constant in my life for, like I said, coming up on this decade is I'm gonna work. The army is gonna work you, or you gonna work for yourself. And I literally felt like I had a breakthrough. Like this episode right now is late. Is late. And once again, I was just like, I'm not gonna skip on an opportunity to do an episode because I already know what I have to do for the service. Like I was still supposed to be at training, but they wanted me to do something back at home, so they sent me home early. So here I go, and not because like don't toot, not toot my horn and nothing like that, but we really short. Like, and people ain't going to the army like they used to. We short. We don't have that many people to do it, and everybody else that could do it, they got other obligations. So here we go. I get the, I guess, long and short end of the stick with this opportunity to be able to come home early, but back to work. Like literally, I don't think I've been home. I don't think I've been back in Texas 72 hours. Like I literally touched down. I think it was Saturday. Plane landed at 1. I didn't get home. Didn't leave base until like 3:30. So like I say, keep rolling into that point. The army is gonna work. Like the army is gonna get staff sergeant more. But my other businesses, things that I want to do for myself, they don't get Victoria the same way that the army gets steps on more. And I'm sitting over there, and like I said, it's the do year. It's the whole theme for these like episodes. It's the do year, new year, do year. Don't talk about it, just be about it. Like I say, I wish they would have left standing on business back, but it's the same thing, right? It's your do year, do it. So, like I say, bring me back here. We sitting over here, and I'm like, just shoot an episode. Like why not? Like I said, the army gonna work you. I know what I need to do for the army tomorrow, but it should not stop me from being a good employee for myself. When I say I'm a good employee for the army, like I said, ain't nobody perfect, ups and downs. But a lot of times that I failed, I won't say like I failed the army. It's really like I failed myself. And and I got to the point, like I said, I'm 28 years old. I got to the point where I realized, like, you the problem. And I say that, like, if y'all watch some of my older episodes, I said, like, I'm the problem. I know different little things that I need and what I need to operate or what's going to motivate me. And I say it all the time, like, I'm a self motivated person. So it's not too much outside world pull, push that's going to get me to where I need to be. So when I lose that motivation from within, it's it's really hard getting me out that space. 'Cause I'm one of my biggest motivators. Besides Jesus Christ, like literally, I'm one of my biggest motivators. Like it's like if you don't do it, who else gonna come do it? If you don't take care of you, don't take care of your family, you don't do what you need to do. Who else gonna come up here and do it? So that's kind of like my logic on it and my thought process about doing this episode. So, like I said, get into this episode, being a good employee for yourself, understanding like I could do something in the service, I could be drained, and then I come home, give my significant other, my little babies, my family, like I don't give it the time that it need. I get like you have the army not gonna let you perform below standard. It might not. You not might not be high at your best all the time, but it's a standard, and the army ain't gonna let you perform below standard. Like truthfully, on most things to get you put out, you either got one or two chances to mess up, and it's back to the house. But what I've learned with myself, and I think that's what's getting me so irritated with the service, is you work and you work and you work and you work and you do and you do and you be the best employee, the best soldier that you can, and you kind of get the same results. You kind of get the same results. Like you working for other people. You working for other people to get accolades, and you sitting up there upset. It sucks, but that's part of what comes with the territory. I ain't saying don't speak up for yourself because I had to learn it too. Like in a service, you have to speak up for yourself. You have to be like, nah, like on some part, like I did it, or what I'm getting out of the deal, or okay, I know I did good. I know you need me like I need you, or really I don't even need you. You need me more than I need you. Something what comes with this. Like this is not just you learn that okay, I'm performing way above standard. So you can't just give me oh this your job, this your paycheck. Nah, because I could do a whole lot less and I'm still gonna get paid. But with that being said, like I said, that's just a little background about why I thought about doing this episode, why I'm bringing this episode to y'all. So we go get into it. Peak your performance. Be your best employee. So this episode, like I say, we're just gonna be unlocking being the best employee for yourself. And I don't know who all this resonates with. Like I say, I can only speak for myself that I definitely know that I don't be my best employee. So when I'm being my best employee for somebody else, it's irritating. It's like if I put the same effort that I put into performing for the service into my podcast, like I say, marriage, anything you do, you go get the same results. You go get better results. I won't say that because you don't always like the results. I will you me. I don't always like the results I get with the service, but I I keep saying I feel, I think, I know. I'm starting to understand as I grow into I don't want to say an adult, but 20s is your 20s. There's a maturing adult that you get into it what you put out of it, and a lot of stuff you learn or hear growing up, you repeat it, but you don't really understand it. And I'm starting to really understand it. Like you get what you put out of it. Like life, you literally get what you put out of it, regardless of when you start, how many roadblocks come in between. Like it's gonna be life. You go get into it what you put out of it. So understanding your role. This gonna be the first segment for this podcast. For this podcast episode is understanding your role. So it's important to understand the role that you play in your life. When I say like be your biggest employee, be your best employee, biggest employee, whatever. Uh, you gotta understand the role that you play. Like for my podcast, I edit my podcast. Um, I really say I produce my podcast, but you know, my wife my producer, but I do lights, camera action, like from start to finish, outlines, freaking writing up. Like I say, if you don't, I'll credit to all my podcasts. I think all my podcasts are dope, and each podcast is better than the next by some form, shape, or some form, shape, or fashion. But you learn. So even like the outlines, creating the outlines, not just going off of my head or just talking or just sitting up in front of a camera and just like I'm having a conversation with y'all, but it's more structured. And I didn't start that until I don't think I start outlining episodes until maybe I say maybe 5, 6 episodes ago. And I think that's giving me a little bit too much credit. But I started outlining podcasts and they kind of keep you on track, on focus. Like you don't necessarily forget what you're talking about or what you're trying to say. Or having an outline just help you. If you do forget and you wrap up an episode, I ain't gonna say it's no worse feeling, but it sucks when you're like, I had more to talk about and you ain't talk about it. You weren't able to get it out. Outlining your podcast, just having an outline, it helps. So I understand. I kind of like downplay the role that I have for my podcast because I do so much with it. I literally do so much with it, and I I just say for myself, I act like if I don't do it, it's still gonna get done. Like I just got this team, and I think it's great for the confidence. But the team is me, myself, and I. Like I say, I incorporate my spouse into a lot of stuff. I try to get her on to doing things, but at the same time, like it's my vision. So I don't necessarily get upset when she don't catch on. Is the way that I want her to. And like I say, it's literally my baby, my birthday, birthed out of my situation, my family getting sick, me wanting to have a legacy outside of the service. So it's literally me. So like I say, being away at this training, I definitely started to understand like you play a bigger role. And I ain't just saying like in life. I'm just saying podcast because I understand, but it correlated into life. Like you play a bigger role than what you give yourself credit for, and you slacking. Like you slacking. Like you're not employee of the month, and you're not employee of the month, year, day. Like you tripping. So just getting my head back into the game about that. Like I am. I always said I said it. What was it? Plot twist. Plot twist. I always say it's one of my favorite episodes. But you are the director of your own movie. You hire, fire, and do whatever accordingly. And sometimes you gotta hire and fire yourself because you forget. I think that's the biggest thing. Like I say all the time when I first started my podcast, I echo it throughout my episodes. We know, we just don't do. That's why it's called overthinking understanding. Because we sometimes we just sit by ourselves or we get around people or we get so caught up in life like you forget. Like I said, I don't want to even say forget you literally overthink. You overthinking it. It's like no, you the star player. You know the qualities that you got. You the freaking best employee. You know the qualities that you got. How about you execute it? That's why I say overthinking understanding podcast because a lot of stuff we know, a lot of stuff in the world, these podcasts, motivational speakers, what have you, inspirational books, they it's people telling you the same thing we already know in a different way. And it just you so what they say, like you go blind to it, you go deaf to it because you hear it one way all the time. So soon as somebody come with the same message just brought in a different way, we back on fire with it. We like, yes, that's what I'm talking about. That's it. Like this person, and we ride this wave until we come deaf to it again. You gotta stay on that. You gotta stay on there. Like you work for yourself. You are very valuable in your business, whatever you do. And even going to go work for somebody else. I said all the time, like everybody not a boss. It was pushed for the longest. You gotta be a boss. Everybody boss status, this, that, and the third. Everybody not a boss. Some people don't need to be bosses. Like some people not the best employees for themselves or for the company. So it's like some people don't need to be sitting up there. I'm a boss. I'm a boss. I'm a boss. No, no, no. Ain't no. I ain't gonna say that. No. Some people just don't know, need to be bosses. Learn how to be a good employee. That's everything. Like if you skip from being an employee to a boss, you ain't gonna be a good boss anyway. And some people you barely get up, want to go do your job, want to go work for them people to collect a paycheck. How you think you gonna do it if it's no overhead? Sometimes, like I said all the time, like sometimes it's good. You got insurance, people, money. The money ain't all that. But think about if you was to lose that job, you just quit that job tomorrow. How you gonna make your first dollar? And if you got that idea, then hey, maybe you got your idea how you gonna get your first dollar, and you make that $1 go to two, four, six, so on and so forth. More power to you. But just understanding, even when you go to clock in for a job, you still working for yourself because you gotta go pay your bills. That job is gonna pay you, and that job employ you. You are their employee, also your employee. So you gotta work. You gotta do what you need to do. And if anything that comes after that, working out, cooking, being who you need to be in a relationship, all of that ties into understanding. All that ties into understanding your role and understanding and the importance of your job description. Whatever you gotta put for yourself. I'm this, I'm that, mama, daddy, freaking top 100, whatever you gotta put. Understand the job description that you're talking about. Moving on, identifying the key responsibilities and performance expectations. I think this right here is always I ain't gonna say been hard for me because responsibility part, I think that I've got it. Cause like I say, I've been in the service since 18, and don't get me wrong, when I first started out, you still needed some help, still called back for some people, but for the most part, I left home and I took care of myself. Like I learned, even if the lessons came from the house, I implemented them while I was gone. When I came into the service, it was no your mama coming to help you, daddy coming to help you, your granny coming is what you got. And then all I had was responsibilities that only I could fulfill. Get up, go to work, freaking passing PT, doing the job that I was supposed to do. And it wasn't nobody else go come do that for me. That was my responsibility. I feel like where I've been falling short at is performance expectations. Because like I say, and this it's gonna be tied into the service because like I said, I'm a soldier. I've been doing this almost a decade. Like it's a big part of my life. It's not the only part of my life, thank you, Heavenly Father, but it's a big part of my life. And in the service you got expectations. You got height and weight, you got PT tests, you got job performances, you got evaluations, you have expectations. And what I have learned, just like I say, reflecting from this last training I came off of, I don't really have the expectations for myself. Like they come and they go. I think that the army, like you could not feel the expectation and not want to do an expectation, but you know that expectation is there. Like regardless if it's in your face, you know you have a ACFT coming up. You know you have a height and weight. Like it's the army. You know it's coming. You know that if you don't get up and go to work in the morning, somebody go come looking for you. And for myself, like I say, performing for myself and being the best employee for myself, the expectations for myself, I just feel like it be lacking. Like I haven't. It's like I set an idea, but I don't keep that bar. Like the bar move. And I think that's dangerous when it comes to us working for ourselves. Because like I said, a job, you either come here, you do what you're supposed to do, or you fired. And your day to day life, when you showing up trying to be the best employee for yourself, if you don't necessarily do your job, you who else could do? Who go fire me? Like it's you. Like it's me. So if I don't do it, then it's okay. But that's truthfully, in my opinion, not the case. I feel like that's when we start losing ourselves, and then you become a person that you don't recognize. Like really, truthfully, like you be like you set these expectations, but then you allow your expectations to waver. You know what I'm saying? Like don't get weary and well doing. You allow your expectations to waver, and you don't sit up there and show up for yourself. You don't sit up there and show up for yourself and do what you need to do for yourself, and then you become a person. Like I look at old pictures and I'm like, man, back then I didn't even think I had abs. Back then I didn't even think like I still sucked at running, but I was passing running. But I was like pass fail, whatever. Like I suck at it, practice more, whatever. We here, like, but that just to be said, I'm like, man, I always tell myself I'm gonna get back to this shape because if you did it once, you could do it again. Like I can achieve this body, and I'm sitting here like I'm not happy. Something dragging. It's just like a nagging person, and I look in the mirror and I be like, who are you? Like, who is this person? Like, this is not Victoria. This is not Victoria. Like, who is this? And that's what I mean by you sitting up there letting your expectations move up and down, and you like, it's me. So, regardless, I'm not gonna wake up and be somebody else. I'm just gonna be me. That should be more motivation because, truthfully, it's not. You might wake up and be somebody totally different, and it ain't no worse feeling than waking up, looking in the mirror, or looking back or looking at pictures, and you like, who is this person? Like this, who is this person? And I know for me, like the biggest thing is my weight, and it's not so much. I go up and down with it. I be like, you look good. I like, no, you don't. Whatever. I don't like the way this outfit look. I don't like the way that picture came out. Just normal stuff. But that's like one of the biggest things. And I'm like, you could control that too easy. And what I hate the voices in my head, like you can't eat like you want to, that way go catch up, blah blah blah. And I'm like, when you don't do what you need to, it's like those people win. It's like them people win. Like I told her, she used to always she be inhaling plates. I told her and it's like you can. You just also need to work out. Like it's true, you can't eat exactly how you want to, and achieve the body or just the peak fitness that you want. But you could be pretty damn close. It's not. I can't eat this every day, but that don't mean I gotta take it out my diet all the way completely. But like I say, I think for myself speaking personally, key responsibilities, like I get it. I got a family to provide for. I got bills that need to be paid. I got a life that I'm trying to achieve. I don't never want my kids. I don't think I want my kids to be able to spell army. I don't want them to step foot. I don't even want to buy them fatigues for the clothes. I don't touch none of it. I understand that I'm building a family and I want different. I want my spouse to be able to get and have and sustain whatever the hell that they want. And I get it. Like I say, with my responsibilities, I get it. But my expectations, I be moving them up and down. Performance expectations, like that's doing. Like I say, do you whatever. Like my performance expectations are like, if you get up today and you do okay, then I'm good with that. And it's like, no, no. And don't get me wrong, like I said, check out some of them older episodes. If this is your first time um, checking in, locking in with Overthinking Understanding podcast, older episodes, like I get it. Sometimes your 100% for that day is okay. I'm saying when you know you could give more, like you could be, I could be okay for the service. I might get two, three people ask me if I'm okay. I might get zero people ask me if I'm okay. I still got to do my job. No if and buts about it. I still got to do my job. If I show up to a HFT and I'm not necessarily call myself feeling my best, I still got to. If I don't say take it, or even if I say can I take it at a later date, and they say no, you can't take it at a later date. If and they say no, you can't take it at a later date, I gotta take it. And that's what I mean. Like working for other people, sometimes like you don't have that leeway to have a bad day. And that's a good and bad thing. Like I say, like sometimes the service definitely work you and I definitely feel like, man, I need a break. Like this is crazy. And I'm just they not getting they're not getting the person that they are expecting today. Hold on, y'all. Sorry about that. We back. Make sure that Facebook camera don't go dead. But we back. But yeah, definitely I'll be like, they not gonna get the person that they the steps on more that they want today. But for my life, like I say, performance expectations in my life, I don't wake up and be like, Victoria, you're not gonna get the Victoria you need. You ain't gonna get the Victoria that needs to be gay today. I just kind of go with the flow, and it's like, why set expectations and stick to those expectations? Like you know what you want, you know your responsibility. My performance output needs to match that. My performance expectations need to match that. So let's go to the last part for this first segment. Let me see. Phone unlocked up. Let's see. How clarity leads to better performance. I think that's kind of what I kind of already bled into that. Definitely having the clear vision of why. Like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Like, how clarity leads to better performance. Is like I say, hindsight 2020. It's the same thing. Like, it's like you done been here, you know better. Like, and it's the same thing people say all the time. Like, if you don't do it, who else go come do it? If you don't sit there and take care of yourself for yourself, take care of your family, be the change, be this person, take care of your responsibilities, who else go come do it? Who else go come pay my mortgage? Ain't nobody coming to pay my mortgage. If I don't pay my mortgage, ain't nobody go come up here and be like, hey, I see you not doing so good. I'm gonna pay your mortgage. It's not happening. It's not happening. Not happening at all. Who ain't nobody coming up here, even buying my house. Ain't nobody coming up here saying, "Hey, I'm giving you a down payment." Like, hey, it's your responsibility. It was mine and my spouse's responsibility. Get that down payment. But we did. But yeah, get that down payment money. Get the money we need for certain things. Like, ain't nobody coming to do it. And keeping, I think it's important for anybody. I would just say keeping clarity, like performance, like you got your expectations and keeping clarity for you can have the performance or the outcome that you want. Because it's like, what am I doing? Like you can sit there and be like, I'm not gonna get a credit card. I'm not gonna get a credit card, and it's just an example that popped up in my head. Like you can sit up there and be like, I'm not gonna get a credit card. I'm not gonna get a credit card, and you get life started getting to you, and you get a credit card, and then you run that credit card up, and and this point that I'm trying to make, you lose the clarity of why you didn't want a credit card at first. Now you in debt. Now you owe people. It's not no catching up when you have debt. It's how you and truthfully it's how you feel. Because I forgot that guy name, but he like 10 times the debt, all this and that. It's whatever you feel. But I don't think for me, my belief, I don't like having debt. I don't like owing people, and it's hard to be up when you owe people when you have debt. I hope that was a good example. I don't know. It just came. It just came out the quickness. But you gotta have clarity of like why. Everybody say, I guess that's why. Like why am I doing this? Really understanding your why brings clarity. You sitting there and thinking like, why am I doing this podcast? What I want outside of my podcast. I think the biggest part that I do have clarity on, and I say that I kind of market myself on. I have so many. I have so much of my own merch. I done invested in pillows, stickers, shirts, freaking necklaces. And if you 9 times out of 10, if you see me, I got my own type of clothes on, and I stay looking for vendors so I could put it on shorts and hats and whatever. Like I got hats, I got whatever beanies, freaking Christmas, Christmas gear, whatever. Like people see me first. Oh, I like your shirt. Oh yeah, let's check out my podcast. It's not even like thank you for liking my shirt. Check out my podcast. Oh, you got a podcast? I didn't know you got a podcast. Yeah, this is my logo. Or I tell people like, yeah, I got a podcast, and then they'll say like, that's that logo you be wearing. You be that's what you be wearing because I have so much of my own gear. So I feel like I would say marketing wise, not I ain't go to school for it. I ain't good at it that. But as far as like marketing with certain things, I make sure that I put my brand everywhere, and I got clarity on the perform. I want to wear my brand. I want people to be able to recognize my brand. But with that being said, I draw people to my brand, and that's where I blur at. That's where I get kind of blurry at, where I don't have clarity on like you drawing people to your podcast, but being the job that I do, the MOS that I do, me serving, like they say, freedom ain't free. I'm not producing the episodes like I need to. So even if people come check them out, they're like, she ain't did an episode in months, or she ain't. And I'm not saying, excuse me, I'm not saying that some people still gonna rock with me. Some people still rock with me, and I appreciate it. Some people still rock with me. Some people check out all the old episodes. My older episodes, I say it all the time, have more views, more plays than some of my newer episodes. And I'm just saying that to say like you clarity. Like I said, we're gonna leave it at that. Clarity. Finding clarity, understanding your reason why. Understanding your reason why and finding clarity, or you could perform better. Cause that's it. Like it's just like if you don't do this, you're gonna get this. Sometimes that's all the clarity you need. If you don't pay your bills, you done. If you don't pay your bills, you out on the street. And it don't need to be no clear for that, no more clarity than that. Your performance is gonna dictate the reaction or the outcome that you can get. So let's move on to segment 2 for this podcast. I don't know why I just want to take the lock off. Will not be shooting the episode. I said I was gonna start printing it, but here we go. Okay, so second segment, developing skills and competencies. This is a big one. I'm probably gonna come at this segment backwards. Reason I say competencies, like the army is big on it. The army is big on it. And some people, and this is all about being your best employee. Sometimes we are not competent for ourselves. And what I mean by that is, like I say, we get so caught up working for other people, doing what being like the army literally tells you what your competencies are. They tell you your attributes, lead develops, achieves. and they tell you your competencies, be, no, do, all this crap. And um you work towards that because you know what they are. And in my personal life, it's like, what are my competencies? Like, I'm sitting here doing the outline for this episode. Like I said, it's gonna be heavily tied into the service because this episode was literally birthed from training. Like I say, I done did this for so long. Like, it's just interchangeable right now. But just thinking about it, like, what are my competencies for my day to day life? What are my strengths and weaknesses? And that's one thing that thinking about this episode and being in that training, I actually tried to find more clarity on. Because I'm like, I'm sitting up here and I'm like, I'm a lot of people go to in the service. I'm a hard worker. And I feel like that's the opposite of what I do in my personal life. Not always. I'm speaking about now. Like, I think at one point in time, I was a great employee for myself. And it just came a point in time where I was no longer a great employee for myself. And that's what I'm talking about. I'm saying now it's kind of being more of like, okay, what are you good at? What are you good at for the service? X, Y, and Z. What are you not being good at? Or what are you not doing? Or what is the same thing, this your strengths, your weaknesses that you're able to, I guess they're able to exploit in a service that you're not exploiting in your personal life. And then I literally sitting back there thinking like, I'm a hard worker, but why you ain't working? Like, that's really it. Like, I just working for the service. I always said like, I hate that. I don't think nobody, you want to do something else, do it. But don't give your job, your kids, your spouse, whatever, 100%, and then you give you 20%. Don't burn yourself out and then give you what's left over. Recharge, rebuild up, and get into it. You get recharge, rebuild up, get into it. Whatever you need to do to plug in to get yourself that same 100% for you could still keep your strengths and work on your weaknesses for your personal life. Do that. So I'm like, that was one of my biggest things. Like, you ain't really hard working at your podcast. Like I said, I was telling Facebook earlier while I'm getting it set up. It's like, I've been had this podcast 4 years. 4 years. I think I'm 26, 27 episodes in, and I just had such hunger for it. And don't get me wrong, like, starting anything from the ground up, if it's not something, I won't say that people not interested in, it's what people don't know. Like, overthinking, understanding podcast, I could love it. I could think about it all day. Shout out to Lady London, like she always say, validation is for parking, not people. I'm the number one podcast in my house. I listen to it in the car, listen to it while I work out. But I'm trying to push it. I'm like my supporters. I'm trying to get supporters and people to consume it. It's not like I could get up here and I say one of my first videos to get a crazy amount of views on Facebook. I showed people how to. I was actually showing my girl at a time how to break down a lobster, how to kill it, break it down, pop the shells and stuff off, and that went crazy. People love it. People love food, makeup, building. What is it? DIY, cars, painting, different stuff like that. Building, bracelet, clothes. People love stuff like that. That's not hair. Like, I could go on of I could start tomorrow hair page, makeup page, different technique, do whatever, and you're not necessarily trying to put something new on somebody. And I think that was one of the biggest things. I think that was a weakness that was exploited when I started my podcast, is that people ain't really messing with it, or I'm feeling like people ain't messing with it, and I ain't never been a person to push nothing. I'm like, man, this for me. And truthfully, yes and no. Like, it's for me, but I also started it because I know that I got a voice, got a story, got a perspective that'll help a lot of people. That'll help a lot of people that somebody else not talking it the way that I'm talking it. So, overthinking, understanding, like the podcast, I'm doing it. Like, people ain't talking about this. People ain't getting this. So I think that was a weakness that was exploited, and I'm in something that held back my podcast, because it's like, I ain't trying to push it, but I'm learning now. Like, yes, you are. Like, you trying to push it. It's just like, if I'm doing something for the service, like, during the mission, I had soldiers quit. I don't want to drive no more. Yes, you do. Like, I don't want to drive no more. I'm not saying like, oh, okay, you ain't gotta drive no more. I'm like, yeah, you gonna drive. Like we're gonna switch this up. I'm gonna make sure that this mission for the army don't stop. And it's like, why do I even care? Like, if it fail, do whatever. Is people go, if it do good, somebody else gonna get the credit. If it do bad, you gonna get blamed. Vice versa. And it's like, why I care? But in the moment, hindsight, 2020, whatever, you ain't thinking about that. I'm just like, we got to keep this mission going because, like I say, 10 years in the game, I've been trained. You tell me to do this, get this from point A to point B. I'm gonna get it from point A to point B. So now I have to play this middle person with all these temperaments and attitudes and making sure that these people mission is successful. But then when I come home, I'm like, man, go work out. And I'm like, no, go in the garage, go hit the heavy bag, go do your push-ups before you go to sleep. Like I say, tying it back in, I ain't been the best employee for myself. I'm capable of it. I have this strength that works inside of the service, but outside of the service, I'm not applying it the way that I need to. Like my weaknesses, I'm giving I'm working out and I'm giving the service so much of my strength that I'm coming home and it's just exploiting the weaknesses. Like, man, why you messing with that podcast? People ain't even messing with it like that. When it's further from the truth to see that, like I say, South America, Africa, uh, Asia, Europe. Like I get hits and plays and stuff everywhere, and you just like, but that's what's gonna keep me getting in that bed. That's what's gonna keep me sitting on the couch eating or drinking or sitting up and talking to my spouse when it's like, no, get your tail in that lab, get to work, get busy. So I think for those that forgot with me, I guess speaking on my experience, it was assessing your strengths and weaknesses. Like I say, I just as I'm thinking about this episode and thinking about what I want to speak about this episode and training, sitting over here like, you know what? What is your strengths? What is your weaknesses? What are you not doing at home or for your business or for yourself being the best employee for yourself that you do for the service? Moving on to the second part of that. Value, it says value the consistency of learning and skill development. That right there, I definitely think I value that. I definitely think that ties into like accessing my strength. I love learning something new. I love being able, like I said, editing and learning music, overlay, cutting up stuff. It's just like I'm not paying nobody to do it, so I'm gonna learn how to do it. But at the same time, it's getting lazy. It's not. When you say the weaknesses peeking through, it's me not necessarily developing. Cause like you could learn something, and you could learn something in a day. That don't mean you gonna be good at it. That just mean like something can be taught to you, and it can be taught to you, but you ain't necessarily learn it. You gotta develop on it, or even if you grasp it and you don't do nothing else with it, you're not developing that skill. It's just sitting there, and that is like I say, tying into both parts of that segment, developing skills and competencies is it kind of like hurt you. I think that's one of like my weaknesses is I'll get to places I've learned so many things and I want to develop it because in my mind I'm like jack of all trades, master of none. And some of the stuff is just like riding a bike. Like I'm decent at it. If I learned it and I got it, I'm decent at it. I get it. But that hurts when you sitting over here and I say once again, tying it back to the service, you rely on your training. So even when you're sleepy, you're tired, you don't know your left from your right, up from down, your training kicks in. Whatever you train, however you train, and what you trained on, it's gonna kick in. If you train correctly, you could do it with your eyes closed. As far as whatever you got going on for the service, people shooting, like me setting up equipment, setting up a field, feeding site, or feeding soldiers, doing whatever. Like, so I don't have to be fully there to be there to execute the job correctly. I'm just used to it. I'm used to do this, do this, do that, and the product go 9 times out of 10 be the same. So, like I said, developing my skills. I think that's another thing that I just got to get back into. Even just I'll be so quick to when I first started. I'm up. I'm editing. I'm looking how to edit, watching people edit. Then I'm coming back and doing it. Even with like I say, I let my intro play. Just even learning how to work the mixing board and the little sound system. And hey, hold it down 5 seconds. It's gonna be record what you need to. Press it again when you're done. You gotta record it. And I recorded that intro a long time ago, but I use it every other time. And it's like develop it, switch it up, do something with it. Understanding, lighting, everything I do. What cast a shadow, not cast a shadow. What's gonna give you an echo? What's gonna give you clear? Like I learned this stuff and not using it, so you're not developing that skill. I don't say that skill necessarily go away, but it's just like a dull knife. You either sharpen it, it still go be a knife, but it's not gonna be as effective. So that's ending up segment two. Like I say, segment two was developing skills and competencies. Segment one was understanding your role. It says understanding your role and the importance of your job, or your job description. And then we moving on to, hold on, did I skip one for segment two? The importance of adaptability in the workplace. Like I say, we is one more segment in there. There's a gap, but not still going into segment three. But this ended up with segment two, the importance of adaptability in the workplace. That's just normal. I think that once again, it's perfect because it's going into strengths and weaknesses. Some people are not good at adapting. Some people are great at it. I don't think I give myself enough credit for adapting because a lot of stuff I definitely don't be feeling, but I adapt to it. But I could definitely say my weakness is I can't keep that mask up for long. Like I can adapt to it, and then I could be like, "This is what it is." Put your brave face on, play well with others, and then it just click back in, and I do not play well with others. And I'm in my mind like, this is some BS. I don't want to do it. I'm more than confident and capable of not needing you to complete X, Y, and Z at the moment. But like I said, I had to learn you might be able to complete X, Y, and Z at the moment, but moving on, you might need that person again. And that's actually what taught me to start putting the mask on, start learning how to play. And adaptability, same thing. Workplace, same thing. We talking about being the best employee for yourself. It's the same thing when I say you got a job. Like I said, I'm doing this. I'm doing my army thing. You got a job, and you coming home, and you acting like, oh, if I didn't have a job, I'll be doing so much better. My podcast would be taking off. My fitness would be off. When it's just like you gotta adapt. You have a job, so adapt to having a job. And that's just me talking to me. If it resonate with you, word. But it's just me talking to me. Like you have a job, so adapt to having a job and get your podcast episode shot and get your workout in. And don't get me wrong, like I love working out. Keep your diet on track with it. Whatever that you like, and it's not always cookie cutter. You know what you like and fix it. And that's the same thing. Your workplace, wherever your workplace move from, it's not just, excuse me, we're not just talking about your corporate office or your whatever, wherever your job at. We talk about inside your house, your apartment, your car, wherever you work at. You gotta adapt. It's important to adapt in your workplace. I'm at the house, but once I get in my studio, this is my workplace. I'm not thinking about nothing else, but I'm in my studio, and I that's literally how I look at it. I'm in the studio, trying to go to work. So let's move on. Segment three: building strong work relationships. This right here is definitely important. The first part of this segment, collaborations and teamwork, why they matter. Teamwork make the dream work. It sounds so cliche, but it is true. It is true. Like I could say that the group of soldiers that I have right now, I really like my team. I wouldn't want to trade my little team for no other team that's around me. And it's just like the song. One is the loneliest number that could be. Like if you only got one person doing one thing, when that one person goes down and did that one thing, whatever thing that they did goes down with them. Having a team is allowing people to be able to bring different strengths, weaknesses, like I said, competencies, freaking skills, all that into. It's not just like this one person has to be great at this one thing. Like, and that's the biggest part that I've learned about dealing with soldiers, just because they people, dealing with soldiers or whatever. Like, you got to understand to learning how to play into their strengths and their weaknesses, and making a team work. I don't want everybody to be able to do the same thing. I don't want everybody like someone more. Like, if everybody likes someone more, get irritated, frustrated, up here fussing and doing whatever, or like I said, don't play well with others. It's good that I have soldiers that play well with others. You play well with others, so I'm gonna send you over there to go play with them, and it's gonna help us out. It's gonna benefit the team. So I feel like that goes without saying. Like, teamwork is so important, and it's the same thing inside of the household or whatever you have going on, even with you yourself. Is it me, myself, and I? Like, you yourself, it's a team. It's a team effort. It's not just you working by yourself. Like, something has to give. And sometimes, like, people really do start from the bottom. And like I say, check out some of the old episodes. You might not have the crew that you want, but it's somebody there willing to help. It's somebody there that you can add to your team. That's why I be big on. I was looking for a co-host. I got a co-host now, my best friend, but just I understand the importance of team. I understand the importance of bouncing ideas, or even just being able to conversate or bring, like I say, just develop skills. Like, I don't want to beat a dead horse too much. Like, that's literally, like, teamwork literally makes the dream work. Like, you could be the spear, um, you could be like the spirit tip, whatever. So you could, that's what I'm trying to say. You could spearhead something, be the tip of it or whatever, but it's still a team behind you that's go elevate you that much more. A team behind you go help you that much more. Effective communication strategies. Effective communication strategies. I still won't say I'm the best communicator. I would say that I communicate. I took a communication class in college, and I definitely think one of the biggest takeaway I had from that class is understanding people communication styles and understanding the listening. Like, if you can understand and listen, even let's say, like, because everybody, they don't have nothing to do with going to college. Everybody does not understand or think the same way that you think. So that was one of the biggest things I had to learn. Like, I'm sitting over here and I'm in my mind, I'm speaking just as clear as day. This is the issue. This is a problem, and it's not computing to the other person the same way. So now I'm frustrated. That kills all effective communication. So the strategy that I learned, and I will give credit to my past. My past is learning that you got to ask people, is this a good time to talk to you about this? Are you capable of holding this conversation? And also understanding and learning to read the room. Like, you know what? It ain't a good time for this. Don't get me wrong. Like, sometimes it like it bothers you, it builds up. You need to get this conversation off your chest. And some people just not confrontational. They don't want to communicate. They're not very, what's the word that I'm looking for? They're not like very straightforward, confrontational people. So that conversation, you might be holding on to that conversation forever because that person just don't want to talk. Then that's the part where I say, like I said earlier in the show, service, you got to speak up for yourself. Like, whenever you get, then that's when you get the opportunity. I'm gonna give you all of this because I know we could have had a more effective communication, but I know that you avoiding it. You're not the type to have no conversation to talk about it. So here we are. This is what I wanted to say. And I kind of been like that. I just had to learn that sometimes I wasn't taking the correct approach at first. Like, I wasn't giving the person the opportunity. I labeled them as non-confrontation, didn't want to have the conversation in order to make myself feel better, to just here come to the extreme of here, I'm putting it all out here when it could have been dealt with in a different way. So I had to learn. I had to pick and choose and understand the battles. Like, I say a perfect example. Effective communication, like strategy, like they say, right? So this training, I'm a culinary professional. and we have these things called KPs, kitchen police. They're supposed to come in and basically the sanitary whatever. It's basically like a detail. We use them for what we need them for. But the reason that they were, I could say, the primary use for them: washing dishes, taking out trash, wiping tables, doing things like that. I'm in this training. It's a 14-day training for the segment that I'm at, because I was, the training is usually 30 days or whatever. I was there for 40 this time. But whatever, right? Don't get off track. It's usually like a 30-day training, and then you go into this specific section, and it's only for 14 days. We was out there 15 days. And the moment that I start producing meals, I need KPs to come clean the dishes. You know, so I'm telling people, hey, I need KPs. I'm telling people, first sergeants, for those who don't know it. I call everything a supervisor and a sergeant, but I feel like that's the best way to get it for the civilian world, because it's literally just supervisor on supervisor on supervisor. Army just a big ass bureaucracy. But yeah, to get back on track, I'm telling everybody, hey, I need KPs. Can I get KPs? Can you send KPs? I'm letting my leadership know I need KPs. And it's just like, I won't say it's falling on deaf ears, but it wasn't made to necessarily be important. Because some stuff you just do in the service. Even though every training you go on, if we cook, we need KPs. It's not going to not be a thing. But every time it's time to get KPs, people want to eat, but they don't want to wash the dishes. So boom, we're 9 days into the training. My supervisors, first on whatever, they didn't care about stupid stuff. We heard y'all selling snacks. People are not getting supplements. Mind you, ain't nobody selling snacks. Second of all, I'm like, where the money at? Where the money are we getting at? Whatever, right? And then supplements, we wasn't getting them. Like the way that the class one was handled, it just wasn't good for this rotation. So we wasn't getting the supplements that people were asking for. They come to me with that. I take it to my soldiers. My soldiers like, whatever crap they bring you, you always bring us. Why are we still cooking? We don't have KPs. We steady gotta remind them to get KPs, whatever. And I'm sitting up here like, you know what, you're right. Cause like I didn't talked about it. I've been asking for it. Like I say, we're 9 days into a 14-day training. But really, like I said, we did 15, 16 days. But we're 9 days into it. I have more days behind me than I do ahead of me, and it's still the same issue. So, in order to, I won't say effectively communicate, but to get it where people would listen, we cooked the food. I set the line up, and I said we were not open. We were not open so people can eat until we get KPs. Guess what? It was this whole big thing, and it got blew up. It got blew out of proportion because at the end of the day, anybody could have volunteered to go wash them dishes. Anybody could have said, "I'm gonna be KP. I'm gonna wash them dishes." The statement had to be made because people wouldn't do it. Oh, you gotta let me know. You gotta tell me. That moment on, I had God tell me we could have handled that better. I'm not. This is Victoria. That's on more. Whatever, speak for itself. I'm not finna freaking keep telling you I need something and you know I need it. When we pull up to these places, I don't gotta tell you you need security, gas, water, and that you need to come eat. You go come do that. I need these dishes washed. I'm not gonna keep telling like that's not me. I'm not finna keep telling you that I need this done. I have effectively communicated to the best of my ability. My soldiers done effectively communicated to the best of our ability. Now we have to make a statement. I didn't have no issue. I had no issue getting KP from that moment on. They said we could have handled it better. No, because me handling it better caused me to go. I think we were washing dishes. I had KP maybe 2 or 3 times. People like, no, I knew you would have told me if you need KP. I need KP every time I produce a meal. So now you won't forget that. Now I got people asking me, did you get your KP? So sometimes I won't say effective communication don't work, but sometimes you can effectively communicate, and it's important. You do different strategies, but I do think making a stance is a part of effective communication because you get it. Now that person get it. Whatever I gotta do for you to register in your head, quit freaking playing with me, then that's what's gonna happen. But um, like I hope that made sense. But that literally just happened. Like I said, this training was full of fun. Effective communication. Where we at now? Cultivating trust and respect amongst colleagues. I think that's a big thing. I think the army is be big on trust and respect, but they don't necessarily apply it the best way. And that's one thing that I try to stick with. Like no matter how many times I get burnt in the army, no matter how many times that people do you wrong or you feel like you disrespected, I try my hardest to be respectful. I try my hardest to be trustworthy, like and build trust. Like if you need me, I'm gonna be there. Like people know you might gotta call me 2 3 times. That's the biggest thing. Like oh, I see you on your phone all the time. This that and the third. I tell people all the time if I'm around people, the phone is like my people blocker. But I hate it. It's like an anxiety that the army has given me because it's like your phone is like when you leave from the service, you don't want your phone to be ringing, but you know it's gonna ring. Like you don't want to still be attached to the service. Like I'm trying to decompress. But my cell phone is hooked up to the service. It's literally hooked up to the service. So with it being hooked up to the service, it's like, crap. Like, what's going on? Like they just had this they had this it's this feeling of just this 24-hour access to you and you do not get a chance to breathe. So a lot of time my phone going do not disturb or vibrate or whatever you gotta call me a couple times. Or sometimes like I'm not picking the freak up. Like it's like you don't need nothing, it could wait. And what I'm I'm saying that I'm saying that to where we at, trust and respect. I'm saying that to say like with my soldiers, when I'm there. You need me, I'm showing up. If it's a battle that I'm on board with, even if I'm not necessarily on board with, if it's something that's bothering you and it's something that need to be handled, you feel like it needs to be handled, I'm there 1,000%. I'm going to bat for you. But like I said, cultivating trust, I would say like trust is earned. Trust is definitely earned, and I think respect is given. Like trust is something that's earned. Like I'm not just coming to trusting you, and even if I do, like I say it all the time, like I trust people to be themselves. I'm not trusting you to be nothing but what you have presented me to be. I'm not gonna put more trust in you than needed, and then be upset when you let me down. No, that's not me. But as far as respect, respect is given. I just think respect is given. I say it all the time. Like you don't have to respect me, but you will not disrespect me. So it's like respect is given. Like respect all. They say Kevin Gates say fear none, respect all, and that's really true. Like I feel it. So as far as that, same thing. Being your best employee, you gotta be able to build that trust back in yourself. Like I can work for myself, whatever. Look, and like I say working out, whatever you want to do, hobby. But usually our appearance, losing weight, even dressing, like dressing the type of clothes you wear, or having the confidence or trusting yourself to style and do your own hair. Like you have to understand. Like, look, I'm my biggest and best employee, and you just got to get it. Building trust, like I say, it's interchanging between work and your life. So your colleagues is not your family, your significant other, your spouse, your children. That's one of the hugest parts that I have made it where my soldiers could trust me. Old and new. Like I call them, I'm telling out of 10, my soldiers coming. But it's the opposite for my spouse. It's like the army takes so much of your time. I'm like, I'm gonna be there, and then you don't get to be there. And it's like I'm gonna come through for you. I'm gonna do this for you. Like I got you. You don't get to do it. Or hey, my little sister needs something. I'm like, yeah, I'll come get you. I do it, and you do not get to do it. And that breaks down the trust. That breaks down the trust. That breaks down the respect that your family have for you. So remember, you're keeping it on the same line. You are your best and most valuable employee. So it goes hand in hand. Like your colleagues, your family member, like we in this together. It's teamwork, building, all that same thing. So what was that? That was segment 3, building strong work relationships. We moving on to segment 4, time management and productivity. Product productivity. Strategies for prioritizing and time blocking. That's important. That's I kind of talked about time blocking. Like when I get home, do not disturb. vibrate. Like I say, sometimes I just will not pick up the phone. Like it's and you learn like some stuff was important. They needed you, but if they really need you, they'll get a hold of you. Half of that crap do not be important and get somebody else to do it. Like stop calling my phone. It really irked my nerves. I hate it. Like stop calling my freaking phone. Like definitely time blocking is important. Another thing, just starting the day earlier. Starting the day earlier. That's another thing that I was thinking about while I'm going doing this training. I'm sleeping in the truck, sleeping in the cot, whatever, getting maybe getting maybe 3 to 4 hours of sleep. But when I get home, I'm trying to get all the sleep. Get up and start the day. The army don't care if you just went to bed. I kid you not. In this training, because lack of people doing what they need to do. We get up 4 o'clock in the morning, pushed out breakfast, loaded up, ready to roll out, and they're talking about passing out SI and all this crap. Mind you, we went the day before to do it. Anybody that's food service industry, food service job, whatever, you know our days are long. They start early and they end late. So everybody else, they just started rolling. Mind you, my team, when I say my team, culinary specialists at whole, we was the first people to show up to this training. And showing up to this training, we was people coming up on 2, 3 days, being there, 5 days, being there. And we're coming up on a week and a half. And we've been cooking and producing meals since we got there in some form or fashion, whether it's dealing with rations, doing whatever. Like we've been working. And these people like, hey, come get weapons. When it's time to come get the weapons, they not even passing. They ain't even got to the weapons that we need yet. It's late. I kid you not. So we tried to do it the day before when everybody else was doing it, right? They big. Y'all need to drive SI. Y'all need, and it's funny because like the commander I got now, he loves saying like you need to get your shit together, and that's literally what I think about this damn man all the time. Like you need to get your shit together. You need like what the hell? Like just like the army, they don't give a care if you new, you ain't been doing it that long, you in that position, you feel the shoes, whatever. Just saying that to say, show up to get the weapons. Of course, the weapons are not ready to be passed out. We've been up all day. We leave. The next day come. We not getting no. I don't know. I don't have no point to where we're going. This one. This one. This is why another reason why I say like I was happy that my phone stopped working down there because this was another thing. Like people do not give information. They have the access to get information. You got to look for them. I called my commander, talking to him. He like, oh yeah, I think your soldiers might be BSing. This happens here, blah blah. I said, okay, let me call him. I'll let you know, sir. Ain't nobody said where we meeting up at, where we going. I don't know, freaking whatever, right? This man called back. I called him. The guy like, oh yeah, the commander busy. Commander told me call him back. So what I'm doing? We don't know where the heck we going. We did not bed down to 2:30 that night. We finally get to where we need to go. We did not bed down until 2:30, and they said we need to be back up at 5. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what's wrong with y'all people? But like I say, Army don't give a crap about no time blocking. When it's time for training, your time is blocked off to for them to have. And that's one thing that when I get back to garrison, I'm back here now. I don't try to let happen. Like, no, this is you need me. I'm available for this. You'll be available 24/7. Y'all not available to miss me with the bullshit. Sorry, miss me with the BS. I'm not doing it. I'm available from here to here. You need something, give it one of the soldiers. Like I ain't got time for it. And the same thing is prioritizing. Like I learned to prioritize. Of course, I need to do it better. Like I said, I have not been the best star employee for myself at the moment. But how can I put it? How can I put it? The army makes everything a priority. And then when you come home, it's like nothing a priority. I be like, man, I get an episode shot. Like I'm gonna do it. I get to the gym. I meal prep that out. I go cut that grass. But in the army, everything you need to get this done and get this done. You getting crop done, crop done, crop done, just to be done, just to add more stuff. So you really ain't never done. Man, everything is not a priority. So freaking strategies for time blocking and prioritization, everything not a priority. Like think about what needs to get done within the next 2 hours. What need to get done within the next 6 hours? What needs to be done within the next 24 hours? And the prioritizing to take care of itself. But if you sit there and be like, I need to go to the gym, I need the meal prep, I need to freaking cut the grass. Like everything will be on your list at once. Everything is a priority when you do it like that. When you do it like that, literally everything is a priority. And you like, oh man, um, I ain't I ain't gonna be able to get all this done. But it really take care of itself. I prefer to work out in the morning because so much stuff happens throughout the day. So working out starts your day. I'm just saying for myself. Best for me to be the best employee for myself. If working out starts your day, work out. Work out in the morning. Ain't nobody bothering you. Half of the people that gets on my last freaking nerves, they not up with me or they not up doing this. So you good to be left alone. Time blocking, same thing. It takes care of itself. I'm working out. You ain't taking calls. I'm listening to the Bible. I'm listening to my freaking music. Or I'm listening to my book. Leave me alone. Call come through. If it don't come through two, sometimes three times, I'm not picking up. It's not that important. Somebody else could do it. This is time for me. I ain't saying like you do what work for you. Overcoming procrastination. This is a big part. This is a big part. Like man, I tell y'all all the time. My brothers know. My father is one. My father is one of the biggest procrastinators that I know, second to myself. But me first, yeah, he first and only second to me. But whatever. Um, Overcoming procrastination is the do year. It's one of the things I say, just do it. Procrastination literally sits there and say that you have time. And one thing that I have learned about procrastination just throughout my journey and life period, whenever you start something, whatever roadblocks are preset for you to stumble on or you need to get through to build through to get to the end of your destination, it's gonna be there. So whether you start whether you start when you're supposed to or whether you start late, that roadblock will be there. And what I have learned to just help me overcome procrastination, it's gonna be roadblocks. So it's best to start early. And I can say an example like college. I'm waiting. I waited college, and boom, it was an issue. I forgot what the issue. It was an issue with something, and it caused that issue was. And in my mind, that issue was already going to be there. It teaching patience, teaching you to not procrastinate. Whatever lesson I'm supposed to learn from that roadblock, the roadblock is going to be there because that lesson is for you. Like what's for you is for you. That roadblock is for you. You was gonna come to it anyway. But if you would have started getting ready for school earlier, the roadblock would have been there, and you still would have been able to start the class when you needed to. But when I started, I procrastinated. Then, hey, you get on the bike, you like, yeah, I'm finna do it, and you think just because you gun co and ready to go that the roadblock's supposed to move. Like, hey, Heavenly Father, I'm ready now. Like, clear the path. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Sometimes your path clear. Sometimes your path. Sometimes your path is clear. There's no roadblock, and sometimes your path is clear, but it's a roadblock. Like it's clear for you to run straight into that roadblock because you need it. Like you need that roadblock, and you go run into that roadblock because you need it. So procrastinating, I'm telling you, like there's one thing. Just do it. Like literally, don't think about it. It's some stuff. If you know that you procrastinate, write it down, prioritize, time block it out and be like, I'm gonna just do it. And once you start doing it, it becomes like you don't want to not do stuff. Like it's like you sit there procrastinate, and that part goes into being an employee for yourself. You can procrastinate for the ACFT and know that you need to do X, Y, and Z to get the result that you want. If you don't do X, Y, and Z, you fail. Yeah, some people you won't procrastinate no more because you don't never want to feel that defeat again. Same thing. So best tip for procrastination, like just don't do it. Overcoming it, just do it. Procrastination is literally thinking about doing it. Overthinking, understanding. We ain't gonna make it hard. Just do it. Like get up there and do it. I want to start this. I want to start that. Do your research. If research slow you down, research while you're moving. Research where you gotta go and actually go talk to somebody. Like, hey, I want to do this. This person do this. I'm gonna go out there and talk to them. That's the best advice I could give you. Leveraging tools and techniques for enhanced efficiency. Same thing. The best thing I can say for that, Chat GPT. When I'm looking to outline an episode, when I'm looking to like I say, outline an episode, do anything of the sort like that, Chat GPT. I could put the rough draft in there. Chat GPT go spit it out, do what I need to. Not giving out no free promo, nothing like I literally use it. The things that I use to pen Buzzsprout to, is it Buzzsprout? I think it's Buzzsprout. Buzzspeed, Buzzsprout, whatever my um platform that I use to distribute my podcast. I pay a little bit extra for them to spit out titles, spit out the transcript. That's why sometimes you look at the transcript, it be like I ain't say that or whatever. Like help with the mastering. Like it can't, if it's too loud, if it's too low, if it's too whatever, it's gonna fix it 9 times out of 10. But yeah, like definitely leveraging tools, whatever gonna help you be successful, whatever gonna help you be the best employee for yourself, do it. The lights, like it seems so simple. The production seems so simple, but I got over 3, 4 lights in here. I got professional grade lights. I got over, I think I got 5, 6 microphones. 3 of them, 4 of them, I could see right now. Like so many laptops and different little pieces of equipment. Like use it to work for yourself. So many different stands and what I'm trying to say, like tripods and stuff. Like it get real. Yeah, stuff that it'll be so simple. Like literally, I'm shooting the episode on the futon, and I love it. Just a simple background, but to make simple, people don't understand how to make simple look simple. It don't even, sometimes it ain't simple. But yeah, for that leveraging tools, yeah, just whatever you use. This, I think it's all about doing research. Same thing, freaking even coming down to the merch. I got somebody new print my merch because I want it on shorts and anything and everything. I want my logo on. So to get that done, you gotta tools, techniques to enhance efficiency. I want my podcast and my branding to be bigger. I'm gonna get a platform that's able to make that happen. So that was segment 4, time management and productivity. Segment 3 was building strong workplace relationships. Segment 2 was developing skills and competencies. Segment 1, understanding your role. Okay, moving into segment 5, coming up on one of the last segments, second to last segment, self improvement and growth mindset, embracing feedback and constructive criticism. Excuse me. I ain't gonna lie. I feel like this is stepping a little bit behind the curtain, but I don't know if I done said it before. I learned, so how can I put it? I feel like this real vulnerable, but I'm gonna just say it. Fuck it, right? Um, yeah, whatever. I'm gonna say it. So one thing that I learned, people do not necessarily tell people that they like stuff that they need to hear because they don't want to hurt their feelings, mess up the relationship, this, that, and the third. One thing that I learned just being myself, like a lot of people take the stuff that I do. She an asshole, she a bitch, this, that, and the third, and they couldn't be farther from the truth. Like, don't get me wrong, like I'm thorough. I did some crazy shit. Only God could judge me with it. Crazy stuff. Only God could judge me. Whatever. Forgiveness is forgiveness. Um, but I just learned that me being myself and I guess like rubbing people wrong, they tell you about yourself. And don't get me wrong, like some people just say stuff to try to hurt you, break you down, or they feel like you up here and they try to, knock the air out your balloon. But a lot of stuff that I use to better myself that was actually true about myself, stuff that I even noticed about myself, it was birthed from people call themselves like telling me about myself because they didn't like me. So it wasn't no they don't want to hurt my feelings. They don't want to hurt my feelings or do anything like that. They just would like tell me, and there's a lot of stuff like that's what people don't understand. Like especially when I I just said like especially when I be feeling like people hate it. It's so much stuff I'm not good at, and it's so much stuff that people like that I do effortlessly that I don't even realize that I'm doing effortlessly. Like I just being myself. People like they like it or it's you can't teach people that this, that, and the third. But it's a lot of stuff that I do bad, and it's a lot of stuff that I had to get feedback and understand constructive criticism. Like one thing that I hate, like people could criticize people, but it's not constructive. And I'd be like, what's the point of we doing what we doing? Like, and some people really can't take it, especially, and the people that I learned that really can't take it, especially in the service, like they're good, like they get put on the pedestal and they good. And 9 times out of 10 in the service, you will catch a person only staying in the realm of their comfortability. So when they get put into a position that they don't do all the time, or like, unless like I say, teaching, like teaching is something that is not easy. And 9 times out of 10 in the service, you have to teach. You ain't got nobody else to come in and teach it. Like we do so many different jobs, and you got somebody else coming in. You trying to have somebody else like teach teach what you have going on, and it's hard. And that's when it be some of the biggest parts where you get feedback, because it's one thing with me understanding. It's another thing trying to get somebody else to understand. And I'm just saying all that to say, like, embracing feedback and constructive criticism, like that's one thing that I love to do. And I got to a point where I crave the feedback and the criticism so much that I I kind of I like I don't want to say was a bigger asshole, but I didn't. I got to a point where I ain't care about clearing it up. Like, oh, she just asshole. She just done a third, and I'm like, really, I'm not. Or there people think this about me, and like I'll show them a different side. Like, no, I'm really not. Like, I am who I am for a reason, or how I am for a reason, or this is just me. But I'm really not what you think I am. I did like I wanted this so much. That was a big thing when I started my podcast. Like people I wanted the feedback so much. The negative, I kind of went searching for the negative feedback when the people was telling me like, man, your show good, like you good, and just learning that the people who tell me good is not necessarily like, oh, they don't want to hurt your feelings. They understand it's something new, and you gonna work through the kinks. Like a lot of stuff that I was asking for feedback on, just me listening to my episodes, or me listening to my shows, it like I learned to get better at it. And a lot of people, I like I say, I won't say a lot of people, I can speak for myself. Me sitting up here always wanting this feedback and constructive criticism and feedback is what propelled me so far in a lot of aspects of my life. When I didn't get it with my podcast, I was thinking like, dang, like people ain't messing with it. Why they ain't got this feedback? And then when I did get the feedback, I kind of felt some type of way, and it was coming from a part of like, you ain't did it. So then it was like, why you ask for the feedback then if you're gonna get butt hurt about it? But it was true. It was just like, all right, you ain't do it. And that's why I say all the time, like you'll see people who ain't really never did nothing have like so much to say. And then the people who did it, it takes a lot to do. So I don't want to make it simple. Like I said, it's the do year. It take a whole lot to do. But to sit behind the camera, talk to yourself, or like I say, I'm talking to people, I'm talking to the supporters, I'm talking to my podcast listeners. But when you in that studio, you talking to a camera, or if you got a guest, you doing this, that, and the third, or just you battling with keeping yourself on track, you inside your head, whatever may be the case, is there. Like it's literally there. And with it being there, hold on. What? Sorry about that, y'all. But literally with it being there, it's like I don't know, kind of lost the track. But what I was saying, like, I don't know, constructive criticism, embracing it, feedback is there. Talking to people, is something like don't go hunting for it. Like it'll come, and sometimes like you could give your definitely embracing it. Just take it. Like you got to be able to weed out the good and the bad. Like everybody not a hater. Everybody not trying to see you not make it or see you not make it far. Like listen, like that's why it's constructive. If it don't help you build and it just tear down, like somebody sit up there, it's kind of like what the army say. You don't do not bring a person a problem without a solution. Not saying that that's not a civilian tactic. I don't know. I just heard it in the service, so I say that's what the army say. Don't sit up there and bring a person a problem and not have a solution. So if you come up there and be like, I don't like the way you dress, but you don't offer like, hey, you could look at this for inspiration, or if you wear this brand, it might suit you better. Then just it's just criticism. It's not constructive. It's just feedback. It's not helpful feedback. But definitely embracing it, it makes you better. I could just speak for myself. Like I cling to it for a long time. Like it makes you better. And sometimes, like I say, I can speak from experience going to chase down feedback and constructive criticism. It'll hurt sometimes. It'll hurt you when you could really just sit there and do your own feedback. Sit through your episodes, edit it and dissect it, your life, your workouts, your routine, your daily routine, especially you trying to do something better. Just sit through there, write down, jot down what you do, and you can make it better. What we got? The role of resilience in career development. Man, resiliency. Be the tennis ball. That's how the army do it. Be a tennis ball. Be a freaking plastic bottle. No matter how many times you bend it, freaking extend it, do whatever. Long as you cutting, slashing, you can put air back into it, and it's gonna go back to the way it was. It might be a little wrinkle, but it's gonna go back into the way it was. But resiliency, and you got to be resilient. Career development, you gonna fail. Like I said, like that roadblock, that hard situation, that death in the family, that accident, whatever meant for you to be you, to build your resilience is not there. And this is just me. Like I think that this is a very I learned to have this outlook from being a Christian and learning that, like, some people be like, man, the devil testing you, the devil busy because you got all these things going on. And I never forget Pastor Ricky Rush, regardless how you feel about him, he was one of the, he's a masterful teacher, right? And he did an episode on if it was on the lines of like, if the devil not messing with you, then like with you ain't doing nothing for the Heavenly Father. Like, it's no reason to bother you. Like, it's no reason to give you trials and tribulations because you ain't doing nothing for the Heavenly Father. You ain't got nothing going on. I'm not gonna sit there and mess with nobody that ain't got doing that's not doing nothing. And I only say that to say, as far as like resilience, when hard testing stuff come, I look forward to it. Like I said, like I learned that this mean I'm ready for it, or this is making me better. So I don't look at it just like a regular test. Like you don't you like in life, we'll look at a test like this suck, the devil busy, or whatever you believe in, the universe is against me, I'm cursed, this, that, and the third. But if your teacher gives you a test, is to gauge, is to assess where you at. That's why, what is it now? Like a lot of times they call them assessments. I'm trying to assess where you at. Some trials and tribulations be the same thing. Like I'm assessing where you at, or I know that you're able to get here. Like some tests, you got to take that test to pass on to the next grade. So I know that you're able to pass this test. So I'm giving it to you. Like this is in order to get to this next chapter in your life, you got to pass this test, and that is the best example that I can have for like the role of resilience and career development. Like stuff gonna happen at your workplace, your job, your life. You the best employee for yourself at the like you fail a PT test, a ACLT, height and weight, whatever, shake back. Don't mean you keep failing or doing whatever. Understand that be resilient, bounce back, and understand that whatever you did to get there, fix it before you won't be there no more. But if you're not resilient, you the devil busy. This all that's been going on. Woe is me. You know, I hate it. Life is just life and whatever. And then you're gonna sit there and then have this victim mentality and be stuck in the same spot. Where we at? Settling. Oh, setting personal and professional goals. I talk about this a lot. It go hand in hand. This go into the last and final segment, the workplace balance. That's the next segment, but it kind of go into it with setting up personal and professional goals. I think you need both, and you need both. Like I want to be this place in my career, just like I say, with school. Like having college in the service gets you promoted to the next rank, but it does and it doesn't. Like it looks good when it's time to get promoted to the next rank, but you have stipulations on get promoted in the service anyway. So you could be the best as you can be. Your performances could be great, but if you don't have time and service, time and grade, and it's a certain time that you have to sit at a rank, all that stuff you're doing means nothing. The civilian world is, I know it could be the same way. Like you can have this degree, you can get your foot in the door higher, but you still may not be where you want because of lack of experience. So I just think hand to hand it works. Like do stuff. I like the fact that I have a degree, working on finishing up my bachelor's, and but I have associates. Is it works hand in hand. It looks good in the military, and if I decide to get out of the military, I have something to fall back on. I'm not just stellar, being like this stellar athlete at PT and getting out of service, and they like, what you gonna do with that? Like they don't care you running the 14, unless that's what your job you're going into doing. Like they paying you to run the 14, do whatever, then that's great. But 9 times out of 10, it's like, okay, that's great. What you got? Oh, I have 1,000 awards on my chest. That don't mean nothing out here to us. Like, what does that translate to make you suitable for this job that you're applying for? So yeah, I could say that set professional goals, like set professional and personal goals, and sometimes they help for them to coincide. They help for them to align with each other, run parallel. Like they do not have to cross, but they could run with each other, and y'all get into the same destination. But the goals could be separate. And just for setting those goals, write them down. Same thing, write them down. Like they teach in college and in the service, the SMART goal. What is it? Specific, measurable, time oriented. Like just look up SMART goals, and it's great. And it's not just a goal. Now it's just like I want to run faster. Now you just go, okay, what's specific? I want to run faster. How am I going to do it? What time limit am I going to give myself to be able to run faster? And it helps you. So look up SMART goals. Look up SMART goals when it's time for you to set your professional and personal goals. Last and final segment of this episode: maintaining work-life balance, the importance of setting boundaries, strategies for stress management, achieving balance for suitable performance, suitable and sustainable performance. I like that. Ending this podcast episode strong. This is a good segment, maintaining work life balance. Tell you the truth, I know it's important. I don't know how to do it though. I feel like this episode would not be birthed if I understood setting profession. I'm not. I'm about to go back to goals. If I understood setting the work life balance, and don't get me wrong, like what's so funny, this is actually a part that's on a counseling statement, evaluation for the army or whatever. That's the best way I could do it. But whatever, on my monthly counseling statement for my soldiers, that is actually a key component that's on the new form, work and life balance. And I think that's what I don't think the army purposely takes it away, because the army is going to work the dog crap out of you, and that's not going anywhere. But that does not mean that you should not work you. Do I think you should work the dog crap out of you? Depending on what your goals is, depending on what you need to do. But I ain't gonna let the army continue to dog me, and then I just sit over here and play with myself. Like I don't have that. I don't have it in me to work just as hard for myself, and the army just dogging the crap out of me. But truthfully, I really, like I say, boundary. I pay for my phone bill. I pick it up and answer it when I want to. And sometimes, like, don't get me wrong, like sometimes I really do not hear it, but I put it on do not disturb. I put it on silent. Like, give me a chance to be with my family. Give me a chance to gather my thoughts, because the army would take so much out of you. Like the training I just came from, they took our phones. They took our phones for like 2 weeks, and hey, it was worth it. Like people don't have access to you. Like when people like cell phones, literally, like I said, get an army, get your job, get people. They feel like they got this 24-hour access to you, and it's like no. Like I have two phones. I got a bunch of phones, but I have two main phones, right? And when this phone was messing up, my commander, like, which is like another supervisor, high supervisor, right? Whatever. He like, oh, I called your other phone. I'm like, I don't even have that phone with me. But just for you could feel like you got one phone, and if you don't pick that phone call up, I'm saying like my commander, if he don't pick that phone call up, texting him, calling, I gotta call around to get with him. I don't have. It's just like I just didn't like the way it felt. I'm like, I'm not going. You're not gonna have access to both of my phones anymore, because it's just like for you to. And like I get it, you don't pick up here. I got this number, and when he got that other number, it was out of need for him to have it. everybody does not have both of my numbers because everybody do not have the need to have my other numbers. It's like that's why you have a personal phone, you got a work phone, and it's just like you can have the work phone, personal phone draws back, and there's nothing that says I can't do that. Like you do not have this unlimited access to me. And like I said, yes, do the army control you 24/7 for the most part? Yes, it do, but you have to learn to set boundaries. And like I say, truthfully, I really can't say I have 1,000 strategies to give y'all to do that because I'm not. I've never been too good at it. I've never been too good at setting boundaries. I always come to this point of a breaking point or a boiling over point, and then a boundary the boundary is birthed out of the explosion. It's like like it's a barricade. Like you blow some gravel up to me. I'm sorry, you blow a mountain or some concrete up to make a boundary to protect something else. That's kind of how a lot of my boundaries are birthed. It's like boom, something happened, and it finally just collapses, and now I have a boundary set up, and it's not. It didn't have to be that way, but yeah, I ain't even gonna act like I'm gonna hold y'all and take up 1,000 time on that. I'll be lying. So somebody comment and give me some. I think it's important to set it. Y'all give me some strategies on setting boundaries. Strategies for stress management. Like I say, same thing. Cut that phone off sometimes. Block out crap that don't matter. Block out people that don't matter. Stress management in the time calming down. I know the counting backwards method, the just putting stuff into perspective helped me a lot. Putting things into perspective. Like I'm pissed off, I'm mad, but it's like for what? Think about it. These people have been acting like this forever. You have been in the army for a freaking decade. It has been like this forever. What the heck are you upset about? And it's just like calming down, bring it into the clarity, bring it into perspective, overthinking, understanding. Like, okay, you already what is you hot for? Like you're here. I'm overthinking for whatever reason. Go back to your Hawkeye eagle perspective. Look at the big picture. Bring your understanding back around. And they usually calm down. I usually calm down. What's the last one before we can wrap this episode up? What's the last one? Achieving balance for sustainable and suitable performance. Like I say, but I think balance is in order to have balance. Something always have to be shifted. It can't. Nothing can be set because it won't balance. Like balance has to have the ability to move up and down in order to balance. So with me saying that, I think working balance has to always be reworked, and that's why it's one of the hardest things to find. Like if you're standing up on two legs and then you go to one leg, you might not be able to stand with this arm fully extended the whole time, or you might have to engage your core a little bit more, do whatever. Like is balance is one of those things that has to be found and adjusted in order to be kept. And like I said, that I did. You know what? I owe y'all a whole episode on that. I'm gonna look up some of the just those from that last segment. Just look up setting boundaries, finding out strategies, and I owe y'all a whole episode on that. But with that, we're gonna do a recap of all of the segments, bringing this episode to a close. This episode is peaking your performance, be your best employee, and the segments that we had on here: understanding your role, developing skills and competencies, building strong work relationship, time management and productivity, self improvement and growth mindset. Ooh, I don't even know how I skipped over that. But mindset, I always said I'm a mindset speaker. It's the way you look at it. People make jokes about it like it's a mindset thing, but it really is. Mindset, excuse me, it really is. Mindset, it could be the difference between you building a bridge and you jumping off one. It's how you looking at it's how you looking at life. But and then number six, maintaining work and life balance. Like I said, that's something that a lot of us balance is it's hard. I will not. I like I said, I owe y'all a whole episode on that. So just Yeah, but that brings this episode to a wrap. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Like I say, I know y'all don't be knowing when y'all go get new episodes, but just always remember, I am gonna be, it's the do year. I am gonna be producing these episodes. So always remember, it's a new episode coming. You think I ain't working, I'm working. And if you think I ain't working, I'm working. I'm doing it. But I really hope y'all enjoyed this episode. I enjoyed this episode. I enjoyed talking to y'all. Check out my podcast. Follow me on Instagram, Overthinking Understanding Podcast. Follow me on Facebook, Overthinking Understanding Podcast. TikTok, Overthinking Understanding Podcast. YouTube, Overthinking Understanding Podcast. Spotify, Audible, Apple Music, man, I'm sorry, Apple Podcasts, wherever, Amazon, wherever, Google, Bing, wherever, type in Overthinking, Understanding Podcast, get to know Victoria more, and that's it. I'm gonna wrap this episode up into next time. Be genuine to yourself and kind of people. See y'all next time. What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome back to another episode of Overthinking Understanding Podcast. I'm your host, Victoria Moore, and we are back with another episode. Gotta make sure this audio don't sound crazy. I don't do the real wrong. Make sure this audio is not sounding like boo boo. I really want to undo these chords because every time I hit it, I'm just gonna hear my mic jiggle. I need to know where you at. There, you sit up there better. Ooh, that was easy. Let's see what this sounded like.